So Jeff, you and ATI have been partnering for 10 years with Know Your Talents. So thinking back to 10 years ago, what was that compelling event that caused ATI to engage with Know Your Talents?
So I think originally when we did our first engagement with Know Your Talents, it was recommended by a friend, and I was having some issues. At the time I was running our Phoenix office. I was very involved in the day-to-day, and I believe I hired a manager that I wasn't really sure if they were a good fit or not. And so I talked to Know Your Talents, and I wanted to engage, and we did a team building event. And so you all did personality surveys on the team, trying to figure out if it was the right person, and actually helped me get out of a bad spot because the gentleman that I had promoted was not qualified, capable, or had the skill sets to run an office of 50 plus people. He was a producer that got promoted who I just assumed would know how to manage people. The personality profile was very obvious. He was not of that skill set. We were not engaging in profile testing at the time. We did our team building, and we came out of there very clear cut. We went into it, Know Your Talents and myself, that he wasn't the right fit, but coming out of the team building, it was clear, and within 30 days, I actually moved the person out. And that was at least 10 years ago. And that person is still with us and loves his job. And at the time, it was a tough pill for him to swallow, but I just had him at my house 3 weeks ago with his wife and daughter, and he thanked me for that move all those years ago, and he's so happy in the role he's in, and we just put the wrong person in the wrong role. And it was really helpful to have the engagement there to get through. At the time was a very difficult situation.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And so that was our initial engagement together, and then from there, you really brought in Know Your Talents to visit with the executive team and really be part of ATI transforming over the next, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that was a very interesting engagement because it started off with us hiring you all to, it was funny, we were doing like an RFP on what's your mission and vision, and nobody knew.
Right.
Like my dad, the founder of the business, didn't know. Like we had to go to like our head of administration, and it was listed on our website somewhere, and like this, we're a big enough company. Like we have to have a purpose,
Sure.
We have to have a mission and a vision. So it started off with that. You all came in, did basically like a strat plan for us.
Yes.
And that's ultimately what ended up defining our culture, which we call ATI Cares Now. We did come up with a mission, we came up with a vision, we came up with some taglines, but ultimately ATI Cares came out of it. And I think what the exciting part of that, you all came up with some recommendations. We wanted to roll it out because we felt like we couldn't do it being a multi-branch location. I think we had 23 offices at the time. And you all not only executed what we talked about, but you physically went out, met with our management team and all of our employees, did team building events, engagement, rolled it out. It was a huge success. And I think even after that, so that was kind of phase one was executing it. Step two was going to the offices. Step three is where I'm more the visionary of the company. I see the big picture. You came back, you met with 23 locations. And so you got all kinds of things that we would never hear from our employees. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. Some of it was accurate, some of it wasn't accurate. And you gave us an executive summary and really just listening to our employees. And I remember some of the key things that we took away was we needed to invest in HR, which we ultimately ended up doing.
Right.
You actually recommended that we bring in, we're a family-owned business, so at the time we had no outside of our CFO, I don't think we had really an executives and a C-suite title. You recommended we bring in someone to head up operations, and so we hired our first female, not only female, but our first executive outside of the family. So we hired a COO.
Right.
That probably took us 12 months to execute, but that came out from that executive summary. And literally, I go back now, and that really was a launching pad for where the company is now, because we took that to our board of advisors. We ended up executing probably 75 to 80% of that. And again, not having you in the field, I don't know that we would have gotten that information. And that transformed the business to, honestly, at that point was a $280 to $300 million business. And then ultimately 18 months later, we went to market. We brought in outside investors, and it's probably ATI Care has probably been 6 years now.
Right. Yes.
We're now pushing $750 million in revenue. Just incredible growth. I was just in our headquarters office yesterday. We kicked off the meeting with ATI Care, so it's still fast and furious. It's still foremost, and we're getting ready to do a relaunch. And so it's been one of the most, if not the most impactful thing I think that we've done, especially bringing in outside consultants. And we've brought in lots of outside consultants over the years.
Well, we've been so honored to be on that journey with you. And you all have done such an amazing job of really bringing ATI Cares to life. They're not just words on a wall and or on a TV screen in a lunch break. I mean, you are living and breathing them. Every employee is virtually every day. It affects every business decision that you're making. And so that's been so impactful. And we've had a front row seat to the trajectory that ATI has been on. Typically, it's a lot about ROI, as you know, when you partner with consultants and when you're making an investment with a company like Know Your Talents, it's all about driving outcomes. And so how has focusing on people strategy really driven business and financial outcomes from your perspective for ATI?
So I think, it's always hard to evaluate ROI, but I think ultimately going through COVID, going through, especially our industry, but I think construction in general, I think really just the whole country in general, hiring's challenging. And yes. I think the investment in people is even more apparent now than it probably was when we rolled out ATI Cares. It's much cheaper to keep the people I have.
Absolutely.
It's so much easier to motivate, incentivize. Hiring people, training people is very, very expensive.
Right.
It's does not provide value to the organization. So the more I can create an incredible culture, the more people actually want to come to work. People spend a lot of time with their work families, sometimes as much as their real families.
That's right.
And so you want to make it an engaging, rewarding place. And one of my jobs that I do in the company now is I head up our acquisitions department. And I think one of the more impactful slides that we use and one of the things that we talk about with owners is culture and people. And so as a leader, I look at Glassdoor. So Glassdoor is a third-party review site for employees to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about our companies.
Right.
And so one of the most impactful slides is we put us up against all of our big competition. How is the CEO rated? How are we rated? How many reviews do we have compared to people? And to me, that's the ROI is there because I can use that as a sales tool. I can convince someone to hand their baby over to me and know that I'm going to take care of it. We're not always going to get everything right, but we've got the best intentions and we're going to be the best steward of their business. And I ultimately say, and my dad says this, our CEO, we only have one employee. That truly is, we only have one customer, which is our employees. And if you don't take care of them, so the ROI's there, you have to find the ROI, but it's one of the biggest ROIs you can make. There's things that'll impact margin and profitability and EBITDA, but ultimately your people will make the biggest impact on all of that by having happy customers, happy employees that are willing to work the weekends, work the nights, do that extra thing that you don't know about. And that starts with your employees.
Absolutely. You're so on target there. I think the statistic is greater than 60% of candidates are going out and looking at the brand, that employer brand of an organization before they even decide if they're going to engage, if they're going to apply for a position. So I think you all have done a great job in really being very purposeful in identifying that people do matter. And when you have that philosophy and you're really driving consistently, day in, day out, year after year, driving that culture, it does matter. And it does drive business performance because, as you said, turnover is really expensive. And so how can we just continue to retain the best employees. And when you've got employees that are highly engaged, they're driving better customer outcomes. They're innovating, they're creating with you, and they're on board. And this trajectory that your organization has been on with all the mergers and acquisitions, it's exciting, but there's a lot going on in the organization. But when you have engaged employees, they're going to be on that ride with you and are going to be bought in.
100%, yes.
So thank you for your partnership.
Of course, thank you. It's been a great partnership.
Sure has. Thank you.